A growing number of Republican-led states are ending increased unemployment benefits. This week, the total reached at least 15 governors in these states cite the economy's lagging performance and say cutting benefits will help business owners who cannot find staff. But Democrats don't see it that way. Here was President Biden's take when asked if the extra benefits mean people are being paid to stay home rather than work.
Well, we don't see much evidence of that. It's easy to say the line has been, because of the generous unemployment benefits, that it's a major factor in labor shortages. Americans want to work. Americans want to work.
The most recent round of federal COVID relief provides jobless workers with an extra $300 per week through September. Sarah Chaney Cambon joins me now for more on the implications. She covers the labor market for the Wall Street Journal. Sarah, welcome. Thanks very much for being with us. We know the most recent jobs report came in under expectations, and you spoke to some economists about their disappointment. How much weight do these numbers carry?
Right. So thanks so much for having me, Elaine. So economists were expecting that employers would add about 1 million jobs in April, but the economy only added about 266,000 jobs. And so it brought up this question because consumer demand has been really strong as the economy reopens. Why are employers not hiring more? And anecdotally, we've heard from a lot of companies that they're struggling to hire right now. And Republicans and many employers have cited the expanded unemployment benefits of $300 per week as being the main culprit why more workers are not seeking jobs right now.
Well, as we mentioned, some Republican-led states are now cutting added jobless benefits. That includes in places like Iowa, where the unemployment rate is actually lower than the national average. How are leaders justifying that decision?
The main argument among Republican governors is that a lot of people are actually making more money on unemployment benefits than they would if they were back at their previous job. And so we took a look at some Labor Department data and found that the average unemployment recipient makes about $318 per week. So you add on the $300 federal supplement, and the average person is making $618 per week on these benefits. And so that equates to more than someone who would be making $15 an hour working full time.
Well, some Democrats are opposed to cutting benefits that are set to expire soon. What is their argument for keeping them?
Democrats and President Biden are saying that it's not these expanded unemployment benefits, it's other factors like childcare and fear of the coronavirus that are hurting workforce participation. Think about on the childcare side of things, a lot of parents are still having to stay at home with their children because schools are in some cases still remote or at least partially remote. And then on the fear side of things, yes, vaccination rates are helping give some people more confidence, but the pandemic still persists. And so Democrats are really leaning into those couple of arguments and saying it's not really the expanded unemployment benefits that are deterring work searches.
Well, are these lackluster numbers a political liability for the White House's jobs and infrastructure plans?
We have not heard anything about how the jobs report and the weaker than expected hiring would influence any sort of fiscal spending. If anything, President Biden has really emphasized that this is just one report. It's a snapshot of employment in April.
Well, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers is warning the White House about inflation and the economy overheating. What's behind his concern?
It's somewhat complex, but basically we had a huge amount of cash that was infused into the economy through fiscal spending. And as the economy reopens, you have a lot of consumers that are rushing out to spend. And at the same time, employers are struggling to keep up. In some cases, they're having to raise wages and then prices to compensate. And we did see that inflation came in stronger or higher than expected this week. And the fear really among a lot of economists is, is this transitory? And even if it is, you could see that like really high rental car prices, for instance, end up hurting demand. If I'm looking to travel this summer and rent a car and I see that it's, $100 a day, am I really going to take that trip? And then that could hurt consumer spending. And so that's kind of the fear about what when economists reference this overheating, that's what they're talking about.
All right, Sarah Chaney Cambon, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Elaine.